we're on a serious mission. Optimus Prime tasked me with training the next generation.
Does this mean Bumblebee is coming to live with us?
Twitch and Thrash are two totally new Transformers born on Earth.
You're part of the family now, too.
They need a crash course on Transformer life.
Ta-da!
With less crashing.
Heads up, newbies. School's in session.
What's there to learn? Twitch and I already know how to change modes and stuff.
I just wish I knew how to get these Terrans to listen to me.
If you figure that out, could you let me know? Family meeting.
Sensing a fun killer.
Hey everybody, welcome to the periodic table of awesome. We are talking with the one, the only, the magnificent, the magical Cissy Jones. Cissy, so many people who know the periodic table may actually recognize Cissy for a little live event that we did a few years ago. Just un tiny little one, where, I don't know, a few thousand Destiny fans cheered, hooped and hollered in Melbourne for PAX. So Cissy, of course, being the voice of Sloane from Destiny 2, you were joined by Courtney Taylor.
I was. Courtney Taylor, the holiday to my Sloane.
Now, I'm sure that there are a bunch of Destiny people out there who are still going, so... where's Sloane? Can we? But
I wish I knew.
Back to... Yeah,
I wish I knew.
This is the great thing with long-term projects like that, isn't it? It's like, I don't know, maybe she'll come back. She's in a piece of lore somewhere. I haven't read it, but
just get it going on Twitter. See if they'll bring her back. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find her at the.
Maybe not Twitter anymore. Maybe go to Hive. No. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Is that where you're going? Because that seems to be the topic of conversation at the moment. Where's everybody going? It's like the end of it's the end of a party, and everyone's going. So which bar are you going to next? Like,
but I don't want to go to But you guys are going to this one.
Are you going to Mastodon? I don't like Mastodon. Mastodon's too loud. But are you going to Hive? I don't know.
Is the music good over there? Yeah, I'm on Hive now, I guess. And it's new. You know, there'll be some bumps, I think, but so far so good.
Good, yeah, exactly. I think that's where we're all at with it. We're just like, I think it's okay.
Yeah,
you're just waiting for it to turn into some terrifying milkshake duck, where it's like, no, turns out Hive was actually owned by Nazis.
Milkshake duck.
It's not owned by Nazis. I don't know that.
I know. I know.
This is all we really hope for in our lives, isn't it? I just want to do things and have them not turn out to be deeply problematic.
I just want to live a Nazi-free life. It really is my goal in so many functions.
Yeah, and in fact, I had to stand by that a couple of years ago and just go, actually, I'm going to live a Nazi-free life. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I can't work for you anymore. It's a long story. I'll tell you about it some other time. But anyway, today we're talking about Transformers EarthSpark, which...
Yes.
There is no segue there at all.
Perfect segue, just boom. Yes. Hello.
Like a truck through a wall.
Oh, I've missed you. I have missed you. I have missed you.
No. Let's talk a little bit about Transformers EarthSpark. So, first of all, what was your involvement with it? How did you get involved? Was it just the standard?
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, I spend my life inside this soundproof box throwing spaghetti against the wall. And basically, I get a slew of auditions from my agent, and I do my take on them, and I sure hope they're good. So when Transformers came in, it was under a code name, and so I had no idea it was Transformers. But they had this character written who was... strong female character, but she also had like a really fun side to her. And I was like, ooh, I get to play. Oh my God. Cause so often we'll get like, we want the military commander, but she's very buttoned up and there's nothing funny about her. And it's like, okay, that's one color of gray. But this one, they were like, she is the second in command. She's tough as nails, but she doesn't take everything so seriously. And I was like, I like her. And I just had fun.
Was that written in the actual bio that they give you? Is like, okay, she is this, or did you pick up on the humor from reading through the sides?
A bit of both. because she has lines if when the pilot comes out. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but she has kind of a cat and mouse air about her when she's cat to the mice. This is me avoiding spoilers. I'm real good.
Look, I think we're okay because by the time that we've seen this, it's out in America now. By the time that we release this, I'm pretty sure that it'll be out in Australia, or at the very least, enterprising fans will have watched it because I know that the first 2 episodes showed up on French YouTube. So go figure.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now, whether or not you're in French,
yeah.
I can't confirm.
Je ne sais pas.
Mon
There was
Dieu,
a moment.
mon-
There's a moment in the auditions where she's on a chase and she says, oh, I love it when you run. It makes the job so much more fun. And I was like, okay, I know who this person is. And so I just got to play. And, I got the call from my agent of like, hey, you booked this code name show. By the way, it's Transformers. And I was like, what? I'm sorry. And I like passed out. My soul left my body. And because that's why you get into voiceover, right? Like everybody gets into voiceover for animation. And I watched Transformers as a kid. I used to do the zoop, 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 zoop when I was a kid and like pretend I was turning into El Camino. And
Yeah.
so just to
You couldn't have found something cooler?
that was my first car. Thank you very much, Quinny.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I really can't comment. Mine was a Ford Cortina. Not exactly a cool car. It was very definitely family wagon.
Will.
Yeah.
But and then also within the Transformers universe, it's not like there's a lot of like chicks,
No.
So like
Yeah.
what a joy that I get to be Elita freaking 1 and to come and bring some play to her. And it's just been such a joy. It's been such a joy. We did the first couple of episodes as a table read on Zoom, of course, because COVID. But to get to play in the same sandbox as all of these amazing actors and writers and the creators and producers, man, it's just been like an actual dream come true. Here's the dream.
And yeah, it's a lovely dream. I can see it. I'm picturing it. It's 6-inch plastic. That's
Indeed.
what we all dream of.
It is
6 inches of transforming plastic. Just to be clear on what I meant.
That is
by
correct.
Yes. Speaking of which, have you been able to see, like, because as we all know, Transformers, it's about a toy line. Its heart is about, I know, I'm sorry. But it's yes, the stories are about characters and they're about conflict and they're about growing and all of that kind of stuff. But at the core of it, it's also about 6-inch pieces of plastic that transform from something that looks vaguely human into something that looks vaguely like a car. Have you gotten your toy yet?
I have.
Yeah.
So and I wish I had it in my booth with me, but I'm slow on the uptake. They had a red carpet event. I know they had a red carpet event a couple of weekends ago, which was amazing. Like I've never been part of anything animated that has like put so much love into the launch of it. It's been really, really fun to be a part of. But they had this whole event for families, and they had like a face painting station and like make a headband to be a Autobot or a Decepticon station, and then they had like a rock toss type thing. And if you knocked off all the things that were balancing, you got to pick a toy. And Elita 1 was one of the toys. So I was like, everybody go over there and get as many Elita 1s as you can. The kids are like, yes, ma'am.
That's good. Put them to work.
That's right.
You use their youthful exuberance and better hand-eye coordination.
That's right.
Which is very, very important. And so there's a joy in it of transforming it for the first time. Are you one of the people who has to try and do it without the instructions, or do you like go step by step?
I was like, okay, and then I move the foot but then where does the arm doesn't go that way, just.
I have to turn it upside down. Oh, okay, yes.
Oh, there's the wheel. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that.
Actually, we got a couple of questions from people, and one of them was like, "What's it like wearing a car as a skirt. I was like,
Tuesday. It's just like a regular Tuesday, you know.
Good.
I will ask my animated counterpart when I see her. I don't know how to answer that.
Decepticons never go down without a fight.
I was hoping you'd say that. Makes the job so much more fun.
Hard top. Swindle. The war is over. We offer you a peaceful life.
Yeah, in prison.
How many stages do you see the character before it is on the screen? I'm guessing you get to see like an artwork that tells you what they look like, but do you get to see their animation at all?
So the way it works typically is we'll get the first script for an episode, and we'll record that without any visual help. It's just me and a director, and maybe the other characters have recorded lines, but typically not. And so that's just the straight, like, okay, let's get the lines there so we can hand those over to animation. And then a couple of months later, they'll come back for what's called ADR, which is, I believe it's audio dialogue replacement or automated dialogue
There are two different versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's when they've got the animation doing the basic things and the lines that we first recorded, but then you see the action, which is all like this. I realize I'm just
we
like,
watch it.
Here's the action. I'm a transformer.
I can see why kids tune in their droves. I'm a transformer.
But like if there's like a jump, you know, so I'll have to watch the animation as it is, and then
right,
you know, like add that kind of stuff in to make it a little more lived in. And then every now and then we'll come back for pickups. And sometimes, very rarely, I'll get to see an early black and white animatic of what it looks like, but it's rare. So usually when we do the ADR is when I'll see what the final animation looks like. And the first time I saw my girl, I was like, oh my God, there she is. That's me.
Look at her with the little horns. And
she's got the, oh my God. I mean, just giddy. And like the animation in this version is so gorgeous. It's been really fun to watch some of the fight scenes they get. You know, I remember the early 80s versions, and it would take like 30 seconds for them to convert. It was like zit, 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 zit. And now it's like slap. All right, I'm a truck, you know?
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see.
I would like that on a pin for you. Splat, I'm a truck. How much background do you go into it for a character like her? Like, there's the character on the page, but there's now 40 odd years of different versions, different interpretations. You know, she showed up recently in a series on Netflix. You know, there's all the way back to the G1 stuff. So do you kind of go looking for versions, or do you prefer to stick what's on the page in front of you?
I thought about that, but I really wanted her to be my own version, because there's been so many incredible versions of her before, and I never wanted the previous iterations to feel, whether it's the actors or the animators or anything else, I never wanted them to feel like I took something of theirs and made it into mine. Like, I really wanted her to be my version. And I just, again, like there is so much around her, and there is so much history. And like at one point she and Optimus are like an item. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do with this. Like, she is here. It's post-war. She's living in a world that she like actually really likes to be a part of, and she's having a good time. And I don't need to bog it down with all of the history, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you add too much history, it takes away the like spontaneity of fun, you know?
Well, yeah, because then every line you're thinking about, okay, well, how does she actually feel about that? You know, is this relationship with Optimus the relationship of an ex, or is it, and
is it like adds, a, hey, buddy? Or is it like, okay. There is a thing, I guess, of waiting too much, like putting too much weight on everything, and therefore everything's like, Yeah, because it's like if I'm chasing down like the hard top. Like, did he kill my sister in a previous iteration, and do I need to like avenge? You know, or am I just like cat and mouse? You know, so yeah.
And it's funny. It sits in a really interesting place, like the series, in that it feels almost like a very direct sequel to the 80s show. It sits. I mean, because there's to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, you will soon. There's a section of it that is absolutely straight out of the 80s show. It's actually
which is
2D.
so good.
It's so good.
I love that. Surprised me so much. I was like, oh my God, this is genius.
Yeah. Even down to the old and all that kind of stuff where you're like, oh yes. and so I feel like that sort of does a lot of work in sort of saying, okay, all of that still exists. You can have that. But here's a new thing to play with as well. And
I really feel like this version obviously pays a beautiful tribute to what has come before, but because the Great War is over, the like everything is dire and we are all here to save the planet is like we're in a post that existence, right? And so instead we get to experience the world through honestly the eyes of kids and not the eyes of like adult robot things that are trying to save us all, but like actual children. And it's really fun. Like they're learning and they're growing and they're making mistakes and they're playing. And you know, when have we gotten to see Transformers like actually play?
Very rarely. And I guess because so much of it is actually tied to this concept of war, you know, and that it's a millions of year long war and over 2 planets, and then you get to the live action films and it's you know, a terrifying murderverse. It's just
and boobs.
Oh my God, everybody's just killing everybody and it's terrifying. It is really lovely to find something that's a little lighter, and you know, and we're introduced to new characters. So tell us a little bit about how Elita works with Thrash and Twitch.
I mean, first off, I have to give it up for Zeno and Catherine. Like, my God, their portrayals of these characters are so jubilant and naive and funny and sweet, and like, you know, I sat in on the table reads. I watched them, cool, but then actually watching the show, I'm like, wow, just the liveliness that comes through with these characters is so beautiful and so much fun. Anyway, Elita kind of, as is wont to, I guess, be my role in life, it takes on the role of like the cool aunt, right? So she's like, you know, okay, Optimus is like space robot dad, and he has the dad jokes, and he's, you know, he's a Goomba, but Alita's like, yeah, okay, I'm here. Like, you have questions, I can answer them for you. We can have a little bit of fun too, but like, you're good. Everything's fine. You know, she's not the like. Again, it's not the heavy, like, if you don't do this, your entire species is going to cease to exist. It's just, grow, play, make mistakes, learn from them, you know. She's fun.
Yeah. You're new. You're new to all of this. Learn, have a bit of fun. It's great.
What I do love about it, though, too, is like, okay, so, yes, it's still robots, and yes, there's a lot of masculinity, but also we're post-war. We're post-war. And so how do we take soldiers and put them in a world that no longer needs them to soldier, right? And then you have suddenly Megatron's a good guy? What? No. But how they explore that, I think, is so neat and such a breath of fresh air for the like all the masculinity that's on stage or on screen, right? It's like, okay, we've done that. This is what comes after.
And how do we talk about growth and healing and you know, what is the next generation after trauma, you know? And like, I think that's fascinating because you've also got a character of Mom,
Dottie,
thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry. That has also gone through the war, you know, is ex-military or trying to be ex-military.
Yeah. And I was just going to say something, and I think it's in one of the earlier but not yet released episodes. But yeah, you see physical reminders of her time in the war.
And
it's, you know.
And I think it's something that really needs to be addressed as well, because we live in a world that wars are not just historical, they're happening right now. And there are people who are ex-military who are trying to reintegrate into normal life and going, how do I do that? Because whilst we've had the cartoon version of this, which is, you know, characters going and all that kind of stuff, what we haven't seen is the actual human toll of it and what that does to people long term and what it does. And I think it's interesting that we can explore that through the human characters, but then when we look at the robot characters, they're almost not immune to it, but theirs is a very different experience.
It's different, but, you know, you have a character like Optimus who is always used to being like the one in charge, who now is kind of awkward, right? Like he like tries to make a joke and people are like, I don't know, no, you know? And so he's like, oh God, I'm not the be all end all. I'm not the one that everybody looks to for answers anymore. How do I evolve in this space too? Which is such a beautiful thing to explore.
A mysterious new enemy is threatening this town.
I will rid this planet of your species.
You do one of the best jobs in the world, and people love you for it, and I love you for it. But I love you for many other reasons more, because you're just a really, really wonderful human being. And a pretty damn good robot too, let's be honest.
Well, thank you. And, you know, except for the robot part, right back at you. I am so happy to see you and to talk with you. It just warms my heart, fills my soul.
Cissy Jones, we will be seeing you very, very shortly in Transformers EarthSpark. We'll be seeing you in many other things before too long. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Quinny. Thank you.
Autobots, roll out! How about a little Decepticon Autobot tango? By all means, resist. It's my favorite part.
I don't know how to be a Transformer, B.
You're thinking too hard. You can do this.
With all of us together, those monsters don't stand a chance.
Transformers EarthSpark.